All right, magic makers, I hope you're having a fabulous day. So, over the past few years, I don't know if you've heard this term that's been floating around these internet streets, and it's the idea of becoming a little delulu, to be your best self, to build your dream life. And honestly, I don't hate it, but I think here's where many people get it twisted because a lot of you think Delulu has to be going back to your old self, going back to what you used to do. And I'm gonna say something. It's gonna sting a little bit, but my love and my heart is there with you. That's the delusion, Delulu part, right? At the core of Delulu, it's the idea of believing in a version of yourself before you have proof, right? And I know many of us, we need proof. That's one of our, I'm going to say, like, for my psychology people out there, that's one of like our basic needs, right? Like, it's like we need certainty. And I'm cool, I'm in. But before we get into it, like, here's where I want to take it because what I see happening when it comes to getting Delulu, especially when it comes to being about your health, many of you romanticize this old version of you, right? Oh, back in the day, I was able to do 2 a days. I was able to meal prep like a champ. I was able to do this. I was able to. But that version of you, right? More time, more energy, fewer responsibilities. And here's the thing. I get it because I had those back in the day moments. Sometimes I had those back in the days and I'm like, "Girl, how the hell did I get that all done?" But you also were like, "Oh, this is the results that I had back then, but this is what I want to get to them right now." And I always say this quote to you because whenever I get those thoughts in my head, I think back to a coach that said this to me is that how you get to your goal is how you keep your goal. And I think back, like Kim, 25 years old, Kim, 35 years old, doesn't have the same schedule, nor does she want to have the same schedule I had back then. So I want you to really kind of like keep that thought in your mind, like get a tattoo on your forehead, like how I get to my goal is how I keep my goal. And a lot of us grew up in the fitness. A lot of us over 40, we were in straight up indoctrinated. Like if we were in like a freaking diet cult, it was go big or go home. Everywhere you looked, everyone was like, "Oh, don't give up. You got to be more disciplined. You got to have more motivation. You got to have more willpower." And that idea right now, that's what's making you struggle. That's what's making you think, "I'm not doing it right. I got to do all the things. I got to check all 50 boxes in order for it to count." And so, of course, that's the version of you that you're chasing because that's all we were ever taught. And we're trying to force our current life to match her, to match 25, 35, 40-year-old Kim. And that's when things start to break, right? So here's my take on Delulu. And don't get me wrong, I like a little Delulu in my life, but I am all about, sure, let's get a little outrageous. Yes, believe in yourself before you have proof. But here's where I'm going to put a little twist on it, my own little spin. What if we were seasonally Delulu, right? So it's still about becoming outrageous, but it's becoming the outrageous version of you right now, the out version of you in the future you, right? It's about being outrageous enough to believe that where you are right now is where you start from, right? This is your start line. We're not starting from 25 years ago, 35 years ago. This is right here today is our start line. And you are outrageous enough to believe that that's where we need to start. Like, we're not fighting to get to a certain place, we're not apologizing for where we are. This is where I am, and I am giving myself the grace. And that's it. That's where I start. Like, we're not scaling up so that you give up as soon as one thing falls out of place, because I see so many of you, when I'm talking to clients, like, "Oh, Kim, if the stars align, if all the things happen, then I'll be able to get whatever done." And we all know how many times does the stars align. And for many of you, it takes like one thing and like your whole plan just blows up right in your face. So you're adjusting because you're smart enough to know that women, to win the long game, isn't the one who goes the hardest, right? She's the one that keeps showing up. And another quote that keeps popping up for me from one of my old coaches is that I can go hard and fast, but I can't go hard and fast for long, right? And it's like everyone is like, oh, I want to go hard, right? But it's like at some point you burn out. And I remember when I was competing, I was just like 2 feet in. I was always the balls to the wall. Like if there was a prize, I would win it for dieting. However, that takes a toll because at some point, as soon as my show was over, I would be like, uncle. And I'd be like, I'm taking the week off. I can't go to the gym. Like I'm eating whatever the hell I want. Like because I like held such a tight grip on everything that I was doing. Right. So what I'm asking you is that we want to scale back so that I don't have to give up after 3, 6, 9 months of doing something. We're adjusting so that I'm not giving up, so that I'm the person who keeps showing up, so that I get off of this on again, off again. I get off of this. It would be really cool if I got back to 3 days, 3 days a week of going to the gym. It would be really cool if I got back to like, uh, oh my God, I totally lost my train of thought. It'd be really cool if I got back to healthy eating, meal prepping, all of that, right? Because I know that what you're doing, you're not doing any of that right now. You're romanticizing what you were able to do. So instead of us romanticizing that you can go from zero to full tilt overnight, like I got to be honest, like for many of you, that's not how it works. And if you are able to do it, can you continually sustain that? You know, I did a workshop a few nights ago, and one of the women was like, "Oh, I really like. I know I feel better when I eat healthier. I know I feel better when I work out. I know." But she's about to go on a series of trips, and I'm like, "How is that going to factor into this version that you want to be?" And she got quiet because the version of her, it's very routine, right? So it's like if I'm flying somewhere or driving somewhere, it's going to be really challenging to keep up that schedule if it's just starting, right? If it's just at the beginning stages of being being a habit. So for those of you guys who are like, I need to get back, I'm air quoting here, it gets back to like meal prepping every Sunday, get back to 3 days of workouts, getting back to morning workouts, even though you are not a morning person anymore. It's like, okay, but you're not doing any of this right now. So, like I said, you're not going to go from zero to all of these things that you want to do overnight. So, habits that feel like a chore don't magically become sustainable because you want them to, right? That they, you wait when we do that, we're waiting for like one little thing to throw us off our game, and that's when we collapse, aka when she can start this, right? But as soon as she throws travel at it, and we haven't really built up those habits just yet, we haven't really kind of visualized like, okay, how does this translate into that travel? That's when we get into the boop, it sucks, got to start all over again on Monday, or next month, or when the kids get out of school, or when work slows down, or right? So, and I see it all the time. So this isn't because you're inconsistent, this isn't because you don't have willpower or motivation. It's like you're trying to force something that doesn't fit anymore, and probably never fit, because if you had to stop it, there's a reason why you stopped, right? Short of I broke my leg, short of I was in a coma. It stopped because your life changed and the habits, the routine that you built didn't evolve to this new life. And that's the real Delulu. All right. So I want you to think about it like this. I know everyone here has used some type of GPS, and one of the GPSs that I use regularly is Waze. I live in Boston, and like traffic can be like, ugh. And so I'm always just trying to find ways to get, hey, AKA, that was not a pun and at all. But I use Waze for me to kind of figure out how can I get around a different way. And I don't know about you, but sometimes Waze, I've lived in Boston for 30 years, and Waze is like, get off at this exit. And I'm kind of like, what? this exit? I've never gotten off this exit in my entire life. I have no idea where it's going to take me. So we have those people who are like, you don't know, and you press on with the way you know, and then you're sitting in traffic and you're annoyed. And then we have those people who are like, let's give it a shot because I hate being stuck in traffic. And so you have to decide, are you that person who like gets off at that random exit, or are you the person who's like, got nothing to lose, right? So that's exactly what's happening in your body, right? Your body's giving you these signals that like, hey, we need to get off at this next exit. I know you don't know where this exit is going, but I am stressed out. My time isn't what it was when I was 25, and my energy is in the shitter, right? So instead of adjusting, we're like, shut up, body. I know the way. And you push, 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 and you drag that body along with you. And when I talk about Delulu, I'm talking about it in the season that I'm in. And when it says, I want to be, I don't know right now, but I know that the route, I need to follow it for where I am right now in my life, for where I am in the season of life that I am. And I must admit that I can't run the same routine month after month after month or quarter after quarter after quarter. And I say this regularly. I want you to think about just how like nature has seasons. Our lives have seasons. And I've done several podcasts talking about this. And so that's what seasonal Delulu is. It's like, what can I be Delulu about these next 90 days? And maybe it's 30 days. You decide how Delulu is going to work for you. And so, as I mentioned, I saw this in a workshop that I did, and I'm running the next workshop I'm running is in June. But it's basically in the workshop I ran, it was like every woman I asked her, I said, okay, tell me what it is that you're trying to achieve in the next 30, 60, 90 days. And, I heard I want to work out more, eat better, meal prep, strength train. But when we actually looked at what's going on in their lives, they weren't in a position to get all this done. They were not at all. Yet they were still trying to act like, they weren't traveling. They weren't having surgery. They weren't school teachers. They were like, oh, yeah, this is what I want to get done. So, like, tell me how to get it done. And I feel that, like, I'm a type A person too. And it's like, I feel like, I could strap on a cape and climb a building in, what's that? Climb, scale a building. And you know what I'm trying to say. If you know, if you know this, do me a favor, DM me what I'm trying to say, but you're picking up what I'm putting down. And so I asked her, like, let's get the Lulu for, I told these women, like, let's get the Lulu for a second. If you're not doing it right now, what makes you think that once we get off this phone call, you're going to start tomorrow or Monday, right? And this is why I always challenge my clients, and I'm challenging you, let's start smaller and build from there, right? Not because I don't think you're capable, it's because I want you to feel like a winner, right? And you're that, if you're listening and you're that person who's like, I got to check all 10 boxes in order for me to feel successful, then why don't we make it one box? Two boxes, three boxes, so that you're like, okay, I got this done. I got this done, and we get a series of wins underneath my belt. And so that you're not someone who's constantly doing what we've been indoctrinated to do, white knuckle our lives away, and then still come up short and be like, that's a sign. This is it. This is why I don't do this. So we scaled everything way back. Smaller goals, stacking few wins so that, yes, you feel like a winner. Right. And so this framework, and a lot of this is stuff that I've done myself because I am a recovering perfectionist. I'm a recovering, like, I'm going to run up against a brick wall and think I can like blast right frickin' through it because, I can. But I came up with this framework and it's called Good, Better, Best. And this is the framework that has kept me sane, has kept my clients sane. And you may have heard me talk about it, but I'm going to talk about the things that keep me sane because I see so many of you doing the hard shit, failing, and then trying to do the hard shit again. But let's stop trying to do hard shit and let's just start doing some easy shit. Like, I know you're badasses. And you know what? You know what will make you more of a badass? If we slow the bleep down. So good is, this is the version that lets you survive your worst week. Better. Hey, things are pretty normal, but not my ideal week. And then best. Life is like all green lights. So how does this look like? So for me for workouts, right? So a good week, 3. Better week, 4. Best week, 5. Right? And that's what it is. And I let it be what it is. I give myself grace. So I want you to, pick one goal and give yourself that good, better, best. It could be steps. Like good is like, hey, I got 7,000 steps. Better, 8,000 steps. Best, 10,000 steps. Right? Versus always trying to go for that 10,000 and you're discrediting it if you got 9. And you're like, oh, I didn't get 10, I got 9. Like, hey, some people will barely get 5,000 steps. And so the goal is not always to be the best. The goal is to know what good looks like so that you're never completely falling off, right? So it's like, what if pretty good counted? And so maybe instead of calling it good, better, best, pretty good, better, best. But it's like, giving ourselves the grace to be good, because confidence doesn't come from going all in. It comes from proving to yourself that you can follow through. And that's what most of us, we have these grandiose plans. Like, I'm sitting here, I have my planner out and I plan my week. And I remember, I was that person who would have 20 things. And I'm like, it's Tuesday and I'm going to do these 20 things. And, it would be like, I'm going to try to come up with something like really outrageous. Like, I'm going to paint my whole house. Then I'm going to wallpaper my house. And then I'm going to put in hardwood floors that like, it would be all these like big projects that took multiple days. And I would put them all in one day. And then I would be like, why did I only paint the front of my house? Like I wanted to paint the whole damn house. Right. And I don't live in a dollhouse. So painting my house in one full day was a little bit of a outrageous to like not even achievable goal. Where the first thing I had to start doing was really getting realistic with myself. Instead of making these crazy ass goals, I had to really get realistic, like, okay, and be okay that, you know what? I painted the front door. Being okay that I picked the paint color. Being okay that I took one step that moved the ball forward versus constantly trying to like, bang my head up against the wall and then get pissed off that I didn't paint my whole damn house. Right. And for many of you, I believe you know this, but if you're new to me, I used to do fitness competitions. And then my very first coaching business was coaching fitness competitors. And I remember I had a client and she's like, oh, Kim, she's like, I want to do a show. And I'm like, great, fabulous. Tell me what date. And she wanted to do a show in November, but in the summer, she was going to Italy with her family. And I said to her, I'm like, okay, I'm like, I just want to just quick question here. And I said, you know, would you rather go to Italy and enjoy the trip, or would you rather worry about hitting macros and finding a gym? Because, to go to be in Italy in like July and then come back and do a show, like that is like, that was prime prep time. And, did we want to play the makeup game? And she got pissed at me. She was like, "Oh my God, Kim, I can't, you're telling me I can't do the show?" And I was like, "I didn't tell you I can't do the show. I just asked a question. I was just trying to help you understand that you're trying to be that fitness competitor on one hand, and on the other hand, you're trying to go to Italy and live your best life, right? So it's like the fitness competitor, we're structured, we're focused, like we're locked in at that point. And the other hand, it's like, hey, you're going to Italy. Enjoy the wine, the pasta, the late nights. Have time with your family versus constantly doing like food math, right? And here's the truth, right? You can have both, but just not at the same time. And I was never saying don't ever have a show, but how many times do you go to Italy? How many times do you have these special occasions with your family? How many times do you have these special occasions with your children? I mean, there's a guy I follow, Jesse Eitzler, and he's the owner of the Atlanta Hawks. Who's like a serial entrepreneur, and he has this like phrase that he's like, you have 18 summers with your kids, right? You have 18 summers, before they are off to college. And, if you're lucky, they come home and you're able to do things while they're in college. But after that, their lives get fuller, right? Their internships, maybe they don't come home for the summer. Maybe they find love and they're going to visit that person for the summer, or friends or what have you, or they decide to go abroad, whatever. But it's like you only have this focused amount of time with your family. So why would we spend it trying to get ready for a show when there's a show all the damn time? And so I'm living this right now with my move. I am highly routinized. I don't know if that's a word, but if it is, I'm making it up. It works. Like, routine is my personality, right? I've had the same rough routine for decades. And right now, I have contractors in my house. I'm like praying to God that my electrician doesn't start banging and clanging right now. I record this. And honestly, like my days, I am squeezing all this stuff into the pockets of time that I can find. Boxes are everywhere. And honest, like the days I feel like I'm generally failing. Like there are times that I'm like spiraling. Hello, type A. But instead of forcing my 5 workouts and my perfect morning routine, I'm focusing on what is actually possible for me right now. And so I know I can get 7 hours of sleep. I know I can hit my protein goals. I know I can do my steps when I can. And I'm delulu enough to tell myself that counts, right? It counts because it does. I've been doing this for so long, so consistently, that if I were to like do a DEXA scan to see how much body fat I lost, like it's been almost 10 days and I probably haven't lost any body fat. I'm sorry, not body fat. I probably haven't lost any muscle, right? It's like I'm still literally lugging boxes all around, all over the place, packing crap. I'm still walking up and down 3 flights of stairs, lugging bags here and there, but it's not a traditional workout, right? I'm not just like laying in a bed rotting. And so this is where, I had to shift my non-negotiables from now through June, right? This is my life right now. And my non-negotiables are, the good, better, best. Like this is where it works, right? My non-negotiables, they're not meant to impress anybody. They're not meant to like be put on Instagram and everybody like, you go hard, girl. I got you back, right? This is how I'm going to survive my worst weeks. And that's it, right? I don't need to prove that I can go hard. I know I can go hard, but guess what? I'm tired. I don't want to go hard anymore, right? I want to prove that I can stay consistent. And this, guess what? It's been 10 days and I've been consistent. I've been hitting my step counts. Some days I haven't been able to leave my house because I have contractors here, but I still been able to hit the 8,000 steps, just walking up and down the stairs and walking all over the place, right? But I'm doing the best that I can. And that's where, I want you to live. Like, what is the best thing you can do right now? Right. So here's what I want you to sit with this week. What would you do differently if you stop trying to get back and just adjust to the season of life that you're in right now? Right? That is seasonal Delulu. It's like Delulu. That's like, what is the outrageous version of you right now? Like, look at your calendar. April, May, June, July, October, like wherever you are in space, wherever you are listening to this, what does the next 30, 60, 90 days look like, right? Because at this age, most of us know, right? We know that it's so and so's birthdays or anniversaries. We know when we're traveling. We know if we're going away for weekends, right? For the most part, and we do have those spontaneous things that do happen, but for the most part, like the 90 days of our life are pretty much set, or at least the next 60 days of your life are pretty set. So take a look and just say, where am I? What is possible for me? Set up your non-negotiables. And it's like 1 to 3 things. And if you're in the season of life that you can only do one thing, that's okay. Like I said, it's not meant to uh be that like, oh, look at me, I can do it all. Like, no, girl, you can't do it all. And be okay with not doing it all the damn time. And so if this hits home, do me a favor, come hang with me in my Facebook community. That's where we actually live this stuff out loud, right? We do it together, right? The good, better, best framework, the non-negotiables, all of this. So there's a link in my show notes, and I'd love to see you inside there. And if this hit home, do me a favor, screenshot this and tell me what your biggest aha moment was. Make sure to tag me. And if there's someone who you know needs to change their version of Delulu, make sure you share this out with them. All right, Magic Makers, thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you guys next week.